Welcome to the Leverage Show. Get more from your business and your life. Be sure to share your business questions and challenges with me at leverageshow.com, and I'll answer them for you on future episodes. Today, I want to share with you the simple superpower trick to skyrocket productivity. So we all want to be able to get more done. We all want to be able to build our business faster. We all want to be able to enjoy our lives and have time for all the different things that we want to do. And there are a lot of different ideas about productivity and how to get more in a given day. But I want to share with you something that I've done in my own business that has made a huge difference, not only in my business, but in my life also. And it sort of centers around the idea that, or the backdrop that just inherently we have too much noise. We have too much noise in our lives. We have too much noise, particularly in our businesses, when we are the one responsible. Now, if you're an employee and you're working somewhere and you're at a job, and you have one of those days where you sort of don't really feel that great, you just kind of mail it in a little bit, you give it enough effort so people think that you're working, but you're not really crushing it the way that you could, who really cares, right? I mean, the business owner isn't going to get as much out of you that day, but that's sort of the way that people, go through their lives and go through the workday. But when you are the business owner, when your livelihood, when your income, when your family depends upon your ability to make money and your ability to build your business, and it's already a big challenge, you have all the emotional pressure, you have, all the psychological pressure, and then you've got the financial pressure as well. So there's a lot that goes into this. And the fact is, we just have too much noise. We don't have the luxury of being able to say, you know what, I don't really feel like working today. Because we've got to be able to work. We've got to be able to produce the output that we need, especially if we have a staff, especially if you have somebody that's working for you and they're going to take their cues from you. If you come into the office and you're sort of like, don't bother me, I haven't had my coffee, I don't really want to deal with this today, you're going to empower them to be able to take on that same sort of attitude. That same sort of malaise and that same sort of don't bother me today. I'll work hard when I want to work hard and I won't otherwise. So that's even more pressure because you have to set the example for everybody else. But even if you're a solopreneur, right, and you're a one-person show, it's on you to be able to do it. So what do I mean by too much noise specifically? Well, specifically, one of the areas of noise that we have comes from our connectedness and our connectivity that now exists out there in life. I mean, we have social media. We have texting with our cell phones. We have email. We're constantly accessible by everybody and to everybody who wants to reach us. And there are benefits to that, and there are things that are very positive about that. And there are times where you want to be that connected. It's very important to be dialed in to what is going on. At the same time, it can be a major distraction and a major noise when it comes to trying to get stuff done. It's something that, and it's funny because I actually go through this with my kids. My older son has a cell phone. And, I know my wife teaches, and there are a lot of kids that have cell phones in school as well. And they develop a habit of doing their homework with, sometimes the TV on or the radio on. They got their cell phone. And it's not even conscious to them. But they don't realize that every time that thing beeps or buzzes and you look down, it breaks your train of thought. And every time that happens, you have to refocus to get back onto what you're doing. So it takes you 2 to 3 times longer to get the same amount of stuff done because you have that distraction. So social media, text, and emails is definitely an area of noise. But it actually goes beyond that. A really subtle area of noise is ideas and possibilities, right? In our business, there are a lot of things that we want to get to. We're going to get to this. We're going to try that. We want to experiment with this. All different ways to build our business. They're all different ideas that we've seen or heard or read or whatever. And so we have this whole list of possibilities. And they all sort of go into the maybe bucket, right? So now we've got that. And that's noise. It's psychological noise because it's things that nag at you. It's things that gnaw at you, sort of in the background. And it's basically saying, well, if you ever get time, you want to look into this. And if you ever get time, I want to look into that. And I want to consider this and maybe grow my business like that. And so there are a lot of maybes. And again, while it can be a positive to consider other ways to grow your business and other avenues of revenue and other things like that, it also can be a real distraction. It can be a ton of noise because those things sit on your shoulder, nagging you, whispering in your ear that it's something else you need to get to, but it can't even make your to-do list because you've got so much to do already. And then the third thing that also is a source of noise, but it's very subtle, is underutilized tools and services. Okay, we live in an online world nowadays a lot, but even if things are offline, anything that you pay for on a monthly basis, any subscriptions, anything that you get, even if it's a magazine subscription in the mail, or it's a website service that you signed up for social media marketing, or it's some customer support thing, or some intellectual capital thing where you're going to gain insights and information from it. All of those things, all that stuff, if you're not actively using it, if it's something that is sort of on your list to get to, but you never get to it, and you're not engaging in this content, and you don't have a process for utilizing this on an ongoing basis, it's noise. It's noise. And the reason it's noise is, again, it's nagging at you like, I got to get to this, and especially if it's something you're paying for. Because then you're thinking, well, geez, I'm spending $50 a month on a subscription to this website or a subscription to this service, and I'm not really using it yet. But I know I really need to use it, but I'm not really using it yet. So it nags at you and it nags at you until you are able to get to it. So what this all sort of adds up to is it adds up to a bunch of these little tiny distractions like gnats or flies in your ear that are constantly pulling you away from being totally focused on what you're doing. A lot of people have a lot more time in their day than they think they do. They just don't use their time well. They don't use their time effectively. When you are able to use your time super productively, you will find that all of a sudden you've got enough time to get to everything you need. But it takes discipline and it takes particular steps. So here is my suggestion. Here is my simple superpower trick to really skyrocket your productivity. And it's basically three things. It's unplug, it's decide, and it's de-junk. Okay? So unplug from all that social media, unplug from all that communication, the texting, the emailing. And you might be thinking, well, Brett, that's great, but I've got customers that need to reach me. I've got vendors. I totally understand that. That's why you set times to check it. For most people, in all honesty, if you're honest with yourself, you could check it in the morning before you start and at the end of the day, and that's really enough. Now, if you've got stuff coming through in real time and you're getting quotes and I understand that. Then what you do is you schedule your blocks of time and then you check it 3 times or 4 times a day. But you only check it at those designated times. Beyond that, it's all turned off. It's away from you. So it does not distract you. It doesn't call to you. It doesn't even make your peripheral vision. Because if it does that stuff, if there's pop-ups on the desktop or the phone is buzzing in the corner, you're going to want to ignore it, but you're going to be distracted by it. The simple act of it making noise and alerting you is a distraction. Unplug. Decide. Pull out your entire list of ideas and possibilities and be ruthless with it. Write it all down and be really, really honest with yourself. Is this something that I really think I'm going to implement? Or is this something that, if I could get to it someday, would be really cool? If it's one of those things, junk it. Just cross it off the list, because you know what? By the time you ever get to that, there will be 10 other ideas that have been added to the list ahead of it anyway. You're never going to get to it. Be honest with yourself. Be ruthless with that list. Cut it all the way down to 5, 10 items at max, and either put a plan in place to investigate and make a decision, or just get rid of them and say, you know what, I'll get back to this. I'll look for possibilities of other stuff and other ways to grow my business when I have time. But I'm not going to keep a running list of things to distract me. Make decisions, yes or no. If it's something that's that powerful and can have that big of an impact on your business, schedule it in right now. Put dates on the calendar, put tasks on the calendar where you're going to look into it. You're going to take the steps to implement it. If it doesn't, get rid of it. Totally decide and get rid of that. And then the third thing is to de-junk. To de-junk, go through every service you pay for, every subscription that you have, and decide, am I using this? If I'm using it, keep it, and make sure that you're actually using it. If you're not, cancel it. Get rid of it. Even if it's free, get rid of it. It's just noise, it's clutter, it's distraction. It's something that's banging on your shoulder saying, don't forget about me, and it's going to pull away from your focus. So de-junk. Cancel all those services. You will find an emotional weight is lifted because you're no longer spending money on stuff that you're not using. You can always sign up again. Guess what? The service isn't going anywhere. You can go back and sign up if you ever come back around to the time where you can use it. But for right now, cancel all that stuff. Stop using it. Stop even thinking about it. Delete all those subscriptions. Eliminate all of that stuff and completely de-junk. And you can do this with your physical workspace as well. If you have a pile of papers, you have a pile of stuff that you want, go through every single thing and make a decision. Get rid of it or use it, and that's it. When you unplug, you decide and you de-junk. What you will find is you become laser focused about what you actually need to do. You have very few distractions in terms of what you're trying to do, and you start and end each day with a very clear mind. And you not only are productive and feel productive, but you feel great because you're not cluttered. You're not weighted down by the idea of all these possibilities that in reality, you're never ever going to get to. So that is the superpower trick to skyrocket your productivity and really take your business to the next level. Now remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have a question, share it with me at leverageshow.com and I'll answer it for you on a future episode. And until next time, make it happen.